Hey, it's your boy DJ Wolf here. Got a couple of things on my mind this morning. First things first, I wanted to briefly talk about the shooting that happened in Florida, of those students in Parkland, Florida. First, my heart goes out to the families of the victims, man. I mean, this is it really does make me very sad about when I hear about shit like this all the time, because our children are a vital part of our future, man. A very vital part of our country's future. And to sit there and let gun bans be voted down is bullshit. It's complete bullshit. Because the last thing you guys are thinking about, that goes for your congressmen and senators, all of that. They don't think about the kids. No. They think about their kids. They didn't think about yours. You know? And they completely lift the ban or vote against the ban for their own self-interest. You know? And that's pretty damn fucked up. And the president, you know, he's just an arrogant asshole. And I'm going to keep saying it because he is an arrogant asshole. And to a point where when the sheriff, or one of the sheriffs, had actually did nothing, he was right out there and did nothing to prevent that mess from happening. To a point where he wouldn't even try to go out to confront the gunman. You know, Trump actually didn't even challenge him. He just said what he would do. But of course, he's not gonna put the sheriff on blast because of what the sheriff didn't do. That's a bitch ass move. Because you know, if that sheriff was black, you know damn well he would say everything under the sun about it. That's the kind of contradiction of Trump, controversy that Trump is, because Trump is full of shit. Yes. But he never put that sheriff on blast about what he didn't do. He just said, he was quoted saying about that he would have ran in there after the gunman. You know, if he was out there, even if he didn't have a weapon against the gunman. But yet, you didn't put the sheriff on blast for not doing his job. That's a dereliction of duty. I'm sorry, it is a clear dereliction of duty. And then the sheriff's excuse was, well, we can't, if we hear gunmen out around, then we can't go out. Some stupid excuse about it. And I'm sorry, it was just a lame excuse, man. You know, when are we gonna get serious about protecting our children, man? Our number one commodity as far as family goes. Number one commodity is our children. They are the future workforce, the future family source, and the future resource of this country. And you know, the last thing you talk about is protecting your kids. Protecting our kids. That's the last thing you'll talk about. That's the last thing these congressmen, senators, and even this so-called president will ever talk about. That should be at the forefront. Aren't you guys tired about hearing about kids getting killed in these schools all the time? I'm tired of it. I am. You know, I remember when I was in school, you know, the only thing we did at the most was, you know, we threw a few punches. That was about it. That's all we ever had to worry about. You know, that's for the most part. You know, kids have been known to carry guns in schools for decades, even when I was in junior high. You know, but they dare not to pull no mess like they did now. You know, and my thing is this: you need to have male detectives in all schools. I'm sorry, you need to have them in all entrances and exits around the school. That's a surefire way of stopping all this mess. Surefire way of, you know, well, it's definitely a surefire way of alleviating a lot of these issues, you know. But at some point, you gotta learn, hey, We need to get a gun ban going. You have to. It has to be some kind of gun ban that'll stop all this mess, man, because it makes no sense, man. You know, that's one thing about Michael Jackson, God rest his soul. The one thing about Michael Jackson I really love about that he really, really generally fought for children's rights, man. You know, a lot of entertainers, you won't hear about that. And somebody was talking about the other day, I heard, and they're right. A lot of these entertainers will get involved if it's something they can benefit from. You know, MJ was never really about that, as far as that goes. You know, and it really makes me sad that in this day and age, kids, in terms of their safety, are really completely ignored by the powers that be. They're ignored. There's no doubt about that. I mean, look, I'm going to bring up again about Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, they just completely ignored what happened to that young man. You know, unsurmountable evidence that George Zimmerman was warned not to bother that young man. And he did it any damn way. By the police. You know? And he confronted and murdered that young man. And yet, he did no time. He only encouraged others that were doing the same thing later on. And I'm tired of it. I'm really sick and fucking tired of this bullshit where guys like that can just, you know, get away with doing bullshit and not go and just go unpunished. You know, just go completely unpunished. I mean, you know, it's just ridiculous. And even the president and the former president, Obama, really did nothing about it. Really said much of nothing about it. You know, just like Trump doing now. Trump isn't saying a damn thing about it. If anything, Trump was just like, well, this is what I would have done. You know, instead of putting that sheriff on blast, which he should have. You should have verbally put him on blast, say, look, this sheriff was wrong. And I haven't heard publicly all of what he said, but I heard the soundbite of what he said. And the soundbite of what he said was not enough to convince me that he really cares about kids in this country. Bottom line. Bottom line is, all children should matter. All the time. Not some of the time, not half of the time, not part of the time. Our kids should matter all the time, 24/7, period. Point blank. That's it. Bottom line. This is DJ Wolf. That's about all I had to say about it right now. Speaking of kids, I'm gonna talk about Carl, the death of Carl on Walking Dead. That was a heartbreaker, man. I'll talk about that a little later. I'm out.